All right, there we go. Manohar, are you still in India?
No, I'm back here, Captain.
Oh, you
I'm
are.
planning to go back again on July 8th, where Maharaja's,
Uh,
ashes
Yeah.
will be set up in the ashram. So July 7th, 8th. So I'll be back by June 30th. I'm planning to go back.
wow, you spend a lot of time traveling too, going back and forth.
Yeah. No, my family is in India too. I mean, my wife and kids. So I'm thinking either I move there or I'll do an up and down temporarily until I find a job in India.
Yeah,
Or, I'll find something here that lets me work from India. I'll take it. So,
yeah,
but this time I was serious actually. I wanted to go to the ashram this time when Maharaj, ashes are spread over. So I didn't go last time for 3 months. So I was with my dad only. So
yeah. Well, it's
this
important to
is
be with the family.
yeah.
There's just Trish.
Thought there was a dog outside, but it wasn't.
Uh,
My cat's out.
uh, well,
I noticed with frustration how, like, I had kind of a frustrating day today. And why didn't I do the mantra? I didn't. Why? Why?
did you think about it, or did you purposely not do it?
No, of course I didn't think about it. If I thought about it, I'd use my common sense and do the mantra.
Yeah.
But you mean it's surprising to me that I forget.
Well, you know what? Maybe you see all. I see all those stickies you've got on your thing. Maybe you should have a sticky that says "Say the mantra."
I do have one. John, why don't I remember?
Maybe it is running in the background. I'm sorry. Hello.
Yeah, we're still here. Hmm. Oh, there he is. Keith,
Yeah, hi.
hi, Keith.
Hello there.
We're waiting for you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, sometimes you just gotta do stuff.
Yeah, well, you're here. That's good.
Yeah. So you're not even recording yet?
Yeah, I'm recording. We're just being in silence.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, no, no.
No, you're welcome.
Uh, I'll come in and stay silent too.
You don't have to stay silent.
He doesn't have to talk either.
I was just out there taking the touch.
You were taking the touch?
Yeah.
About what?
Well, being in a hurry, getting things done.
So was there a doer?
Oh, yeah, most of the time.
Yeah.
I can't rationalize my way out of it.
You have to look for who the doer is.
So I won't find them, right?
I don't know.
And I know that. Well, I could think I find it, or I could think he's running it, but
Yeah.
he or me, it's all the same. Supposed doer.
Well, that introduces a little bit of doubt into the subject of whether there's a doer or not.
Well, yeah, there's definitely doubt there. Well, no, it's not definitely doubt. There's sometimes there's doubt if I think of there being doubt. But then it's still thought, so.
Yeah.
And that too will pass.
Yep.
It's just frustrating to me how mind takes over.
It's frustrating to me.
To hear. Like today, just.
But at least there's good. There's always good signs that it's gradually loosening up anyway. At least there's signs, but that can give me false confidence too.
But you get to see the extreme difference of when mind is in charge and when it's just being in no mind. I mean, it's way different.
Well, mind is never in charge.
Well, it appears to be in charge, yeah.
Yeah, you jump in the little river of thoughts and flow along with
Blah,
it.
blah, blah.
But the mind doesn't actually, it's just a flow of thoughts, and then your attention grabs you, and suddenly you fall into the river, and you think you're flowing along with these thoughts, and these thoughts are about me. And if you remain prior to beingness and only observing the presence, you refresh your memories as just discarding everything that's appearing on this presence, knowing that everything appears upon the presence is absolutely illusion, and you remain as just sort of the witness to this presence. And the presence is formless, and you are the formless knower of that presence. So anything that's happening in the form world is totally not regarded in any event. You can do what needs to be done, and then it's just passing. And it's a constant just scenes coming before you. But your eyes are on the prize, so to speak. Your eyes are on the presence. That's it. You're continuously involved with the presence and not appearing. All the things that are appearing on spontaneous presence, you just disregard those. And when things start to appear too much or whatever, and it starts to, then you just, oh, okay, you just gradually bring your attention back to the presence. Through mantra, through bhajan, through just natural noticing. It's like, oh, I'm starting to take the touch of this. Oh, just pull back, easy. Because mind came along with the body, and body appeared on your spontaneous presence, and then the body came along with mind, ego, intellect, as Maharaja said. So this body appeared on presence, and you're the witness of the presence. So you're witnessing the presence on which this body appeared, but this body just is a form that's appeared because of the spontaneous presence. Because you know you are, suddenly now this whole world is here, and you believe yourself in the world until you know now better, because you, as the form of Sri Ramaka Maharaj, came into the world and said, no, just recede before the world, because the world is not, and you are. When the world is not, you are. You are whether the world is there or not there, and that makes no difference. You are that.
So it goes from seeing that there is difference or apparent differences to seeing that there is not difference.
Well, see, it goes before the processing of anything. I mean, truly, you don't process. You're just there. The processing is done by the mind, which appeared with the body, which appeared on your presence, which you are the witness of this presence. You're the knower of the presence. So it's like the dream type state. All of the world and all this stuff is in the consciousness that appears because of the presence that is known. And there's a sense of existence that projects the world spontaneously. The bodies that you see around you are lumps of goo moving around with you, moving them with your thoughts and ideas and your beliefs, moving them around. And that's it. There's no world. There's no, it's the five elements are doing their things. We talked about before that human bodies get together and reproduce human bodies. Dogs get to reproduce dogs. Cats get together and reproduce cats. It's just an assembly line of bodies that you, the you that you are, through the consciousness that appeared on your spontaneous presence and your existence and your knowing of this, has created this concept of a world. But forget about the world. Only be the spontaneous knower of your presence. This presence is here. Okay, I'm observing that. Whenever the world starts to move around, I observe the presence. And I can still be observing the presence and acting in the world, but just remaining, prior to beingness, remaining as the knower. Formlessly. There's no form that I can point to. I mean, past and future are all mind-created things based on memory. You have no memories. Your memory is that I am not body, I was not body, I'm not going to remain the body. This is the only memory that you need to remember. And you refresh your memories through mantra and through just remaining with your selfless self. And if you remain with your selfless self in the quiet times during the meditation, like Maharaj says, spend some time for you, then when you go out into the so-called world, this illusory world, you won't get lost in it, because you'll still be able to know, oh yeah, when I sat quietly in the meditation and I got to know myself in a real sense, and I start to feel this presence that I'm the knower of, And therefore, the whole world is appearing because of the presence, the sense of existence. I'm out of it. And now I can go ahead and use this body and go and do these things, and nothing's going to really pressure me because it's not happening. Just like when you wake up from a dream, everything in the dream, it's not happening. It never happened. Nothing can happen because you're this formless knower of a sense of presence, a sense of I exist that immediately projected a dream world based on the 5 elements moving about, and like I said, cats and dogs, and they just keep creating. You have no father, mother, brother, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle, nothing. And yet you can still show compassion. Like, you know, it was talked about the father having the cancer and your friend having cancer. Okay, you can know that this is occurring inside of this, but you refresh your memories and then you don't have the thought train. And you can be quite compassionate because you're not selflessly, you're not selfishly thinking about yourself. Most people, the reason that they really get torn up during a time of parent dying and all this sort of stuff is because it presents you with your own mortality. As you see these various bodies dying, it reminds you, oh, I die. I have the ability to die. But see, if you know yourself in a real sense, then death loses its meaning because this formless knower of the sense of presence was never born, so it cannot die. These different various bodies that you've assumed identities with at various times are expiring, again, as we said, no different than the bananas sitting on the counter. They expire. That's it. This body is no longer good. But the presence is not going anywhere. Because it's not like your individual presence. It's you that you are that suddenly understands you exist. And then in religiosity and all that is called the Om and the Big Bang and all this. But this all occurred, the spontaneous presence, everything that occurred after spontaneous presence is absolutely illusion. All the religions, illusion, because they're man-made on the presence. You are all there is. Nothing. So nothing can bother you in this form world. And you'll just do this automatically. You'll discard these things by remaining with your selfless self. You don't have to think, oh, I have to discard this or discard this. No, just witness the presence. Have that as the only thing that's in your view. This presence, this sense of presence that I'm the knower of. We talked about before about the window, and you're looking through the window, and it's a very heavy window of thick glass, and that thick glass is kind of the presence that you're looking out at this dream world through this sense of presence. But all you're seeing, all you're paying attention to is the presence. And they talk about in the Bible, God being a jealous God. If you could pay attention only to this presence, the presence is pleased. If you pay attention to all the things that are occurring on the presence, then you're not pleased because you're dividing your attention all over the place. No, you have to just be singularly focused on the sense of presence and remaining with your selfless self, not giving yourself away to all the passing things that are appearing.
That takes a lot of, devotion, concentration, not to be drawn into all these dramas that are all around, people having problems and, watching the news and all of that is so, sort of mesmerized, it's hard to step back from that unless you totally see that it's an illusion. You have to really see that.
Well, Master says it's absolutely illusion. Now it's for you to find out.
Yeah.
And you'll see. And see, you don't have to keep saying it's illusion. All you have to do is remain with your selfless self. Maharaj said that there needs to be a couple of hours of meditation every day for when things are not buzzing around you, that you go and you do this mantra, you sit and you do this meditation to get in touch with your selfless self. so that you're providing attention only to your selfless self during that time period. Then you go out into the so-called world, but you keep trying. Now you've met yourself, you keep trying to go back to yourself. And quite frankly, the nectar of immortality, the presence that reminds you that you are all of everything, you were never born, you cannot die, nothing can ever harm you or touch you in any way, shape, or form, because you are formless, and you're formless right now. There's just the conceptual belief that you're holding a form. And once this is known, then you want to be with yourself always. Why would you want to be with the form when you are formless and you're enjoying yourself? This selfless self-intoxication that Maharaj talks about, that's the real doership, is just to keep more. Oh my God, I love being with myself. And I notice that when I'm not with myself, when I'm not with the sense of presence, and I allow things to kind of bother my being, so to speak, that I don't feel that. Well, I want to feel that. I want to feel good. You talked about going and having drinks on a Tuesday night. Drink. Use this body as the cup that dips into the nectar of immortality, and drink of your own immortality. That's the best drink. The absence of all disturbance, the absence of thought, the absence of mind, because you're prior to any of this arising. You're concerned only with the sense of presence. Just die, just die. And once you're at the sense of presence, it's very easy to brush aside anything that might appear on that presence. And it's not disturbing, because I'm looking at the presence, something appeared on the presence. Okay, I can brush this away with mantra. You remain there. See, you're trying to live on the surface where all the waves are going. And you can't be calm and peaceful on the surface. You need to go recede, recede, recede. Just like in the middle of, the Perfect Storm, that movie where the wave went like 400 feet into the air and crashed. But if you go down into the ocean, absolute stillness. So don't play on the surface. Don't flow along with the mind. Go down behind the mind. And know that the presence, this mind, this whole world, mind, ego, intellect, the body, all are appearing on spontaneous presence, but you're even behind that, because you're the knower of that. You're the knower of that presence, so that's the only thing that needs to be known. And then there's no knower as an object, because you're formlessly aware. Now tell me about politics.
A lot of waves on the ocean.
But if you're way down on the bottom, then how is that affecting you? You could peek up every so often and see what's going on, okay, but don't do it with identity. Remain from the position. And see, the cool thing is you can witness the waves and all the things and be there, but be here. You're inwardly looking at the outward projection, knowing that it's all coming from nothing. Like it's just dancing in front of you, dancing lights on the screen.
Yeah, I can see that. On the other hand, the emotions get involved, when you see people, that are suffering. There's like this,
who's suffering?
Well, there seems to be.
Remember, it's formless reality.
Yeah.
In a dream, you see people suffering, and you can say, oh, it's very sad that they're suffering, and if you can help them, whatever. But it's a dream. There are no people. There truly is nothing. This something is appearing in that nothing. So it's only the identification with a body that sees other bodies, but you're formless. The space around the people that are starving to death is not affected any more than the space around the rich fat cats who are sitting having filet mignon for dinner. The space is space. The objects in the space are appearing and disappearing. And that's not to say that you can't have compassion for your fellow human. Okay, but you just know Have compassion from your fellow human from the place of you're not human. You don't take the touch of human. You don't need to take the touch of anything. And yet you're here, you're moving about, doing these things. But nothing, nothing should be like totally so upsetting and so pressurized. You're not a body. Yet you're holding all the bodies. And from the place of the witnessing of presence, emotions will be seen as appearing on spontaneous presence, flowing through without any identification. You can feel an emotion. Allow it. Well, because you're concentrated on the feeler, not the feeling.
Oh, then you can allow feelings to be there.
Everything can come and go. It does anyway. It's just your mind that sits there and tries to, you flow along with the thoughts and identification, and you start to think, like I said, a sadness comes. Sadness just flows in. But then through identification and trying to search and say, oh, then there's a reasoning, cause and effect. Oh, I'm sad. Why am I sad? But there's an I am somebody else that then is sad, rather than sadness is just coming. Happiness is just coming. Enjoy it in the moment and allow it to be. But don't identify, and don't sit there and try to do a Google search on the last time you felt this feeling, or why you're feeling this feeling, or how this feeling is. You don't want it to go, or you want it to go away very quickly. Without an I am somebody else, formlessly, just I, whatever happens, happens, whatever comes, comes, whatever is doing, and without any kind of mind to sit there and try to create a story. And when there's a disturbance in the 5 elemental body, you feel, oh, there's a disturbance in the 5 elemental body. Like Maharaj says, the 5 elemental body, a lot of stuff can go wrong. A lot of stuff can go wrong. So you just know, I'm not this 5 elemental body, and these things are coming and going. Oh, I don't have water. I'm going to be right back. I don't have water. Okay.
To whom does this come? To whom does this come? It comes to me. Who am I? And that immediately takes me back to that, gives me that distance, takes me back to that purity, that holding the space with self, being close and offering everything up to self, being there, abiding with self. Yeah.
Sorry, John, I had to take an urgent phone call.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to a funeral tomorrow. This whole business of death is really, you know, it's really kind of on the top burner now because actually I heard he's a professor and he's been studying, the subject of death. And he said that the people who have the least trouble with death are the ones who are able to let go of everything. That they completely let go of the phenomenal world. They let go of their relationships. They let go of their, with their possessions of their. But the most important thing he said is, and the hardest thing to let go of is the sense of guilt or what I should have done. He said people are just really attached to their guilt. I thought that was interesting. He studied like thousands of people and all this other stuff and some near-death experiences and things like that. And but I was thinking about that. What about the things that haunt you? I mean, I think life, as the Dalai Lama said, life is a preparation for death. So, and this is really what the teaching is about too, because if you actually are able to die before you die, which is what you're talking about, you're dying to your identity as a separate person. That's what death really is. And then the physical body.
Go ahead.
The physical body just does what it does.
And it's not so much dying to the death of being because you never were a person.
Yeah.
That's the key thing to understand, is that there's really nothing to undo or to do or to, that you're not a person. You never were. You will never be.
Yeah.
You are formless. You just never were. That's the one thing that when that truth really dawns, that what, after I'm gone, what happens? Nothing, because I never was. What? I never was a person. I had, for a time, a belief in being a person because I believed I was in a body, in a world. And then that body had all these various relations that I believed were my relations, my cousins, my uncles, my father, my mother.
Right.
But I have no father. I have no mother. I have no sister, brother, aunts, uncles, grandparents, any of these things. I have no relations of any kind because I'm the formless knower of the sense of presence. And it's not even so much as, I understand the concept of die before you die, but it's just the reality. It's just realizing the reality that it never was. Yeah. There's nothing to undo. It's just the knowing of what is. Stop imagining yourself to be a person and then saying how hard it is to get rid of the imagination that you aren't a person when you're imagining that you are a person.
Yeah.
And the person itself is a figment of your imagination.
Yeah, I know, I understand like intellectually that the self is only a construct. It's a mental construct that we put together ourselves because, made up of experiences, conditioning, whatever, and we think that that's me because we haven't been educated as to what the truth is. And so that's the thing that, is sort of the unlearning of who it is that I think I am.
Well, and everything that you think about and all the unlearning takes place in the consciousness, which appears to you.
Yeah.
So once that consciousness is no more individualized, nothing, you're gone. You're gone from existence because you never existed. The only thing that you are is that's left after you discard the consciousness, the world, the bodies, all of these things after they're discarded, then you are.
Yeah.
And you understand that that's what I'm saying. Attending a funeral would be a beautiful experience to sit there and remain with the sense of presence and absolutely know that everything you're seeing is absolutely illusion.
Yeah.
And that you will never die.
And you absolutely cannot say that to anybody at a funeral.
No, of course not. When you're remaining with your sense of presence, naturally the mind activity, you're not flowing along with it, and there creates a peace.
Yeah.
And that peace is the peace that passeth all understanding, so to speak, that is there. And
Yeah.
because you know you are unborn, you cannot die, you were never born, you never ever were, and all these people are imagining, and it's just like the dream.
Yeah.
That
No.
once this is waking up and you're back to your normal, natural state, that none of this ever was, none will be remembered, there will be nothing, no faculty to remember, there will be no consciousness that is appearing where there can even be the concept of something to remember. You're just remaining with your selfless self.
Yeah. You know, the other thing that has come up for me lately is I have a friend who is completely incapacitated, can't move her fingers, can't do anything, because she has some disease that, you know, eventually it will go away, but she has to relearn how to walk and how to operate her fingers. And, you know, she just can't do a single thing. And I thought, wow, that I haven't said this. I mean, she's not really interested in, you know, as far as I know, she doesn't have a spiritual perspective, but I was thinking that that's a really amazing preparation for what it's like when you don't have the senses anymore, you know, because when the body passes, there's
There'll be
no,
no knower of, there will be no knower of the lack of senses, though. There will be,
Yeah.
there won't be, there won't be like you're a formless knower of, or like there's a footprint in memory somehow of senses or lack thereof. There's an absence of everything because everything is on a spontaneous presence, and the sense of existence itself goes because there's nothing other than to sense the sense of existence.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Anyway, I see Mary has it just referred to the gentleman that I was talking about, Peter Fenwick. He's an older gentleman. He was interviewed on YouTube, and she's referenced it here in the chat. And it's a very interesting. You know, the guy really seems to get it. He said after all that you know, you go. He's talking about the stages that you go through upon, you know, the body's you know, departure. And he says eventually you enter the non-dual state, which essentially is that there's no one. It's emerging with the absolute, you know, and that's the end process where there's no longer a person, there's no longer, he calls it the non-dual. And so I thought that was interesting that he, you know, is, yeah, because he's just a scientist, this guy. He wasn't particularly spiritual, but he was talking about, you know, the end result of the whole process is the non-dual. But it seems like the recognition of all that before the body passes is a important step, you know.
well, yeah, because you have to know that you were not body, you are not body, you're not going to remain body. Only the body dies, and you are not the body. So you're not, like, in the state of no thought and no, when you're formlessly aware, you won't know about death. I mean, people might come in and tell you, oh, you know, you're dying or whatever, but you'll have no notification of this. There won't be any local identification of there is something dying. So there won't be it'll just be here and not, here and that's it. And you'll see that there's just a dissolving of what wasn't, and the remaining is you.
Yeah.
But it's a process that's not done by you, Kathleen, or that you have to learn. The selfless self that you are just dissolves and discards all the things that it were. Just like when you wake up in the morning and you're from a dream, the leftover of the dream may be for maybe a second or two, and then, oh yeah, just dream.
Yeah.
So it's just there's nothing to practice or to know or to do anything. Once you know yourself in the real sense, all of the dream world it stops making, you don't put it together in little pieces anymore and try to build a life out of moments that are passing and out of scenes that just pass before you. You're talking about your friend. When I had the pulmonary embolism, it was a similar experience of being in this hospital bed. And luckily, having been with Maharaj, just continue, remain with mantra, just really remain with selfless self. And then suddenly lunch comes. And then it's time to order dinner. And dinner comes. And the whole like 2 days in the hospital, there was no time in between other than the feeding times. And when they would come in and poke you with the needles and stuff. But there wasn't a sense of you, of there a you in a hospital bed waiting or doing anything. It was, okay, menu is here, order food, come, and then just spending the time with yourself. Because when you spend time with yourself, you're outside of time, because you're no longer taking the touch of a body in time and space. So you're just formlessly without anything. And that is the reality when you're not imagining things and people and all these things that you're thinking about. Even the thinker.
Yeah, well,
When your imaginer are thinking thoughts.
yeah, it's all this whole issue of attachment. It's like, the Buddhists don't have attachments. So it's like you're noticing to look at what is it I'm attached to. It's a good question.
I exist. That's what you're attached to. You're attached to existence. You
Yeah.
want to exist. Now that you know that you exist, you want to exist eternally, which you are anyway. But the problem is the instrument of your knowing of your own existence is a passing temporary thing. When this is known, then fear of death happens because, oh, I exist. I feel this sense of existence. However, I exist as this body which can die because I see other bodies dying. So that the whole thing is to remain just with the sense of existence. I am formlessly aware, just I, and then know that you're the knower. Once you remain with the sense of presence and you just continue in it, you will receive to the knowingness that this presence has appeared, but it appeared to you. If you weren't there, it could not have appeared to you. When the presence appeared to you, due to the fact that there's a bristling and I exist, now you want to remain forever. And because you want to remain forever, you create this entire thing that we call world and move about in it. The closest thing to your existence is, oh, I exist. Now you have to know yourself in a real sense, as Maharaj says. You knew you existed because of your thinking you're this body. And you want this body to continue, which it cannot. But you do, because the sense of existence had to appear to something. That's you, the nothing. The sense of existence created the something, the consciousness and everything in it. Your whole life, all the people you know, all the births and deaths and the hospital and any kind of trauma and any kind of good things and all the awards you won and all this kind of stuff appeared in the consciousness that appeared to you because of the sense of existence. The consciousness goes and everything in it is gone. You are.
But that you, I mean, that's the inquiry. Who am I? Because we take ourselves to be this construct rather than, the formlessness, which is the truth of the situation.
And that is not conceivable, right, John? Because there's no one to conceive. Yeah.
No. Because you are that. And anything that you can perceive, you have to be prior to. So this sense of presence is the bristling of I exist to that did not know it existed, your own selfless self. And you're the knower of this sense of presence, this sense of existence. And because of this sense of existence, the entire world was created. And the only thing you can know or perceive is something other than yourself. The other than yourself is the sense of existence, I exist. It's just misidentification with the existence. I exist, and I think I'm this body, and then mom is there, and she tells me I'm this body, and then tells me how to go about in this world.
So
And then I start taking impressions in mind.
yeah,
Pictures are taken at the time of, okay, this is happening, and this is this, and this is mom, and this is dad, and I just keep acquiring these different images with which to create a mind and a sense of self that moves through time and continues to collect images, basically, and interacts with the images in memory presently by saying, oh, I want this or I don't want this, and pleasure and pain and these different circumstances, and these are my friends, and now I'm in school, and all this kind of stuff. It's just images. The truth is that the mind came along with the body that appeared on the spontaneous presence, or the sense of existence, that was the something that appeared in the nothing. And recede. The nothing is what all this stuff appeared to. Had that nothing, that you are, not been there, nothing could have appeared, because you have to be there prior to this perceiving. And non-dual, as you speak, is just to dissolve all the things that are covering your sense of existence. The sense of existence, the I am, is the purity. All these things are covering it. And you just discard. How do you discard? Maharaj has given you mantra. He says, sit for a couple of hours, spend some time with you. And when you go out into the so-called world, you're spending time with you, even though now you're still in this so-called world. And you can do your job, do your duties, but continuously remain with your selfless self, the sense of presence that I'm the knower of. The sense of presence appeared, and when the body goes away, the sense of presence will disappear. But you are to whom it appeared and who it disappeared.
you know, it's almost like God doesn't know that he exists.
Well, God is a concept that can, and a word that's used inside the consciousness that's appearing to that you are.
Another concept.
Yeah, well, it has to be concept, because even the I exist is a concept. There is no existence. There's nothing.
Yeah.
The absence of everything, and then the knowing of the absence. That's it. There's nothing. Because in order to have an absence of things, you had to know the things. Well, the things are not. You are.
I guess you have to be willing to just go back to the basics. You know.
And it's not even a willingness to go back to the basics. It's the reality.
Yeah.
It's only fear. It's fear of not existing, fear of disappearing, fear of losing all of this something which is nothing. But in reality, when you discard all the illusory objects and you remain with your selfless self, that is the nectar of immortality, the fountain of peace, and absolute absence of any disturbance, nothing. And the good nothing, good is like, it's not an empty nothing, it's a full nothing, it's a spontaneous existing of nothing.
Yeah. But even the bliss or the nectar is, who's feeling that?
Through the sense of existence. The presence is like that sense of existence that you know, because there's the sense of duality in creating this world. Once that's gone, you won't know that sense of existence. There will be no bliss. There will be no nectar of immortality or any of these sort of things, because there won't be a cup called body to dip in.
Yeah, but you know, it seems like you would miss that. I don't know. I mean,
But that's how you know you will be eternal.
yeah.
Because the presence has appeared, and all this has appeared on your spontaneous presence. You know that prior to knowing you exist, because the sense of existence appeared to you. And after there won't be a sense of existence, there will still be a you. because it appeared and disappeared, the sense of existence, to you. And the same as a sleeping. Imagine you go to sleep tonight and you don't wake up. There's no like, it's just, that's it. Okay, whoop, that's it.
Fun while it lasted. Or not.
Well, see, there won't even be the memory of fun while it lasted. There won't be, because there won't be an object or anything that's an instrument of knowing. That's why it's formless knowledge without a knower, without a knowing of anything. That's the absolute state of, not a state, that's the absolute. It's the purity. There's nothing.
It might be wonderful to go to right after that dream state when you're in the dreamless state. If you haven't already achieved a complete realization prior to death. I think this gentleman, this British, he's a psychiatrist and a neurologist. And I think he contributes a lot to functioning well, as this group here is moving quite far along in their journey to self. And this information that he shared is excellent for guidance, for appropriate behavior. I find it sometimes as we get deeper and deeper into our sadhana, it helps to have like guideposts for people that we know we kind of like their outlook for functioning in the world with other people where we are interacting we're trying to interact on a level where we are keeping our awareness with self. So anyway, I really liked it, but thank you all.
Thank you. Well, it is 18. Have everybody said what they're going to say?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Thank you, John.
And thank you.
Thank you, John.
See you all.
Namaste. Good night.
Yeah, thank you, Mary.
Thank you.